Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. A 21-year-old suspected illegal migrant has been handed over to Zagreb police after clinging to the underside of a Croatian passenger bus that was traveling from Belgrade to Zagreb. The driver pulled over nearly 5 hours later in Ivanić Grad when he heard screams and loud banging. Interior Minister Davor Božinović commented earlier today on yesterday's protests by illegal migrants on the Serbian side of the Croatian border near Tovarnik. The migrants were demanding entry into Croatia and the rest of the European Union. The minister said that the problem was resolved through cooperation between Croatian police, their Serbian counterparts, and the European Commission.
The problem was resolved last night when Serbian police tore down their makeshift camp. Today, the entire area was sanitized by the local authorities. And according to the information we have, the migrants will be distributed among centers throughout Serbia.
Meanwhile, the Serbian Minister of the Interior, Nebojša Stefanović, denied claims that Serbia helped transport the migrants to the entry point with Croatia. In fact, he said the government tried to prevent them from gathering near the border, knowing they would not be able to enter the EU. The government commissioner for refugees blamed non-governmental agencies and the migrants themselves for the disruption.
This is a group of Iranians who have blatantly abused the migration system. It's rare to come across such an openly aggressive and disrespectful group. These are people with lots of money who arrived about a month and a half ago in Serbia by plane. This has obviously been organized at some level because they knew very well that they had absolutely no chance at crossing the border in that way. But that didn't stop them from putting on this show.
Investors on the Zagreb Stock Exchange are continuing to dump their shares of Agrokor stocks. Last week, the value of Agrokor companies fell by as much as 95% once the debt settlement structure was presented by the government's emergency management team. A deal with creditors is expected to be reached by April.
At the moment, when you consider the fact that these companies are part of a larger group that is undergoing restructuring in one way or another, if such a restructuring plan is presented, the fall in the price of these companies on the Zagreb Stock Exchange is a logical consequence.
County Court has frozen the assets of all 15 suspects in the Agrokor case. They are being held accountable for damages to the company valued at more than 200 million euros. Meanwhile, back in November, the court blocked the assets of Agrokor founder Ivica Todorić. Defense Minister Damir Krstičević is on an official visit to Poland and Lithuania, where he will be meeting with members of the Croatian military contingent serving in a NATO mission on Europe's eastern border with Russia. The minister met earlier today in Krakow with his Polish counterpart to discuss defense cooperation between the two countries.
Poland and Croatia are connected through historical and modern-day interests. We spoke about those connections, as well as the political projects that connect us today, such as the 3 Cs initiative, an initiative that began with the Croatian and Polish presidents and with strong support from the American president. We are in the final stages of an agreement to strengthen our cooperation in defense that will be signed in the first half of 2018. This will involve bolstering our overall defense capabilities and training.
Zagreb has presented the city's waste management service with 26 new vehicles worth over 3.5 million euros. The move comes near the February deadline to implement the government's plan for the separation of waste. Special containers for plastic and bio-waste will also be distributed to households and businesses around the city.
On February 1st, the government directive for the separation of waste comes into force. These 24 vehicles plus 2 street sweepers will enable us to do the job of picking up the waste more efficiently.
The 2-month-long post-Christmas sale season has begun. The Chamber of Economy expects retail outlets to lower their prices by 50% or more. Overall consumer spending over the Christmas holidays has been projected at a record 1.7 billion euro, while the Chamber expects the winter sale period to further that trend.
We expect sales to be more than 5% higher compared to 2016. This will certainly add to the spending numbers in December and January as well, which is usually a slower month in regards to consumer spending.
Taking a quick look at sports, the Croatian Football Federation has announced 2 upcoming friendly games against Peru and Mexico as part of their preparations for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Croatia will play Peru on March 23rd in Miami, Florida, while 4 days later the team takes on Mexico in Dallas, Texas.
I'm very satisfied with the quality of our opponents. We were looking to play some strong teams, and Peru and Mexico fit the bill. This will be an excellent way to prepare for the World Cup, especially because of their style of play. This will help us enormously versus Argentina. And since the games will be played in the United States, I expect many Croatian fans to be in attendance.
In EBEL hockey, Medveščak plays Graz tomorrow in Zagreb. The Bears snapped a 9-game losing streak yesterday when they hammered Villach in Austria 8-3. This will be the second game for new head coach Douglas Bradley. And the weather forecast for tomorrow calls for predominantly overcast skies with intermittent precipitation, especially on the coast, which could see heavy rains and thunderstorms. Mountainous regions will see sleet and snow, while rain in the interior will turn to sleet and snow in the afternoon. There will be a moderate to strong southeasterly and southerly wind in the interior, shifting to a northerly and northeasterly in the afternoon. Dalmatia will see a strong southerly and southwesterly that will shift to a northeasterly starting along the northern Adriatic. Morning lows of 4 to 8 in the interior and 8 to 12 on the coast will remain relatively consistent throughout the day, reaching highs of only 4 to 11 inland and up to 14 degrees Celsius on the coast. Meanwhile, expect a significant drop in the evening. The 3-day forecast for the interior calls for skies to begin to clear on Friday, leading to colder temperatures over the weekend. And finally, the last day of the year looks to be somewhat warmer than normal. The coast will see much of the same, with skies beginning to clear from the north on Friday. Rain is still possible in Dalmatia. Partly sunny and predominantly dry over the weekend. Northeasterly winds on Friday will die down on Saturday and shift to a southeasterly by Sunday. And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow night.